Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us. Please welcome Sean Karshis from Click, previously known as ClickTech, one of the top data integration, analytics, and artificial intelligence platform company. So Sean, welcome on the show.
Thank you very much for having me, Rahul.
Yes. So Sean, for our viewers, I would like to request you played phenomenal roles in your previous organization, predominantly in Postal Center International and Original Impressions. So would you like to give us a brief, what was your role and what did you accomplish there?
Yeah, absolutely. So my history is really around software development. I'm really interested in the fact, that we're working on QA automation, being able to do all of that with you. But really my history isn't with quality assurance, but instead with the original creation of the software. So at Postal Center International and Original Impressions, I was the CTO there. And it was a printing company. It still is a printing company. And the type of work they did was ingestion of large amounts of data with the intention of being able to turn that into things like invoices or bills or marketing materials or these sorts of various things. And this was, I'm sorry to say, you can all see my gray hair, a long time ago. So when this started, there really weren't a lot of self-service ways for our customers to be able to go on the internet and say, I need 1 million of something. Or I want to be able to build something on my own amongst my marketing teams. So like easy stuff like a business card, but to ensure that the branding of that business card or that marketing material that was going out via mail was exactly in standard to the marketing expectations of that group and that brand. So we had many different customers and it was B2B, 100% B2B. We weren't going out there looking for, many of the things that we're now familiar with when you go online and look for things which are printed. This was back where we would build relationships with large other companies in the United States, and we would allow their teams to go into the software I built to facilitate these marketing materials to be able to get printed and then distributed as needed. So that was the work that was done, and we realized there simply wasn't anything in the market to be able to support that. So I built it. So I had been working previously in New York City also as a software developer, and at Original Impressions is what it was called. Originally it was purchased out by Postal Center International. I worked from just a developer into building all of the software that not only ran what I just described, but also all of the internal workings of the company. And quality assurance was really important back then, and that's where I really got to cut my teeth working with Selenium is really what it was. So that's what I was using there to facilitate the quality assurance part of it. But that was mostly to be able to ensure that we had consistency in our regression. Like most of the QA, we weren't a big team, so most of our quality was dealt with ourselves. We had a small group, and at times it would flex between, low end being 3 or 4 people to like 20 or so at the high end. Sometimes we would flex with some larger projects that came in. And then when those sorts of things went through, we did need to have some sort of quality that would go through. But the idea, low code QA, simply didn't exist back then, and that was that. So then to your next question, which is how did I leave and eventually make it to Click? Quite frankly, I realized, and I've been there 13 years, that I was either going to die working there, and that was just going to be my career, or I was always curious what big corporations were, how they worked, because frankly, that company, there were only 300 or so people in that company, and even that was tough to be able to orchestrate all of the different pieces of building software, so from requirements to building it to then eventually putting it into production. I was curious, how do you do this at scale? And I went first to what was Ultimate Software, then UKG. I was there for a few years, worked a lot with the Salesforce teams there. I was running the software development side of that. And then at Click. So when I joined Click almost a year ago, I joined as the director of shared services. And so what that means in IT, so I'm in the IT department. Click, of course, is a software development house. They build, as you mentioned, analytics and integration software. But I work in the IT side of it, and a shared service, the way we think of it is in IT at Click, is a group of technical people who don't have a particular alignment with the value stream in the business. So instead, all of the various services that IT provides the business of Click have a piece of what we do. So like as an example, quality. So the quality is needed by many different teams and, the expertise that goes along with that. So it's a shared service. So we aren't just dedicated to Salesforce or just dedicated to NetSuite or any of the various applications or integration systems, but instead we're shared across all of them. The same goes for other teams which I manage, like the enterprise architects or the release teams, or the same thing. So my role at Qlik is the director of shared services.
Oh, interesting. A natural question is, since it is a very large company and with a global presence, I assume there are quite a few applications that is actually driving the business, and you are in turn supporting all of them. So which are the key applications from the company point of view, which is actually taking a lot of attention?
Sure. So we call them the anchor systems, and they're really only a handful. So like the two by far most important are Salesforce and NetSuite. So if you think about it, the front office and the back office, there are many orbiting systems around it. So the DocuSign and many others, but most of our work is with one of those two.
Okay. So Sean, it's been an year for you in Qlik. So what excites you more in this job?
Wow, what a fun question. There's so much actually that excites me. There's a lot of talent at Qlik, and there also is a lot of talent and I think vision thinking from the leadership side at Qlik. And there's investment in automation, there's investment in infrastructure, there's investment in making sure that we're building things the right way. And there are lots of things that need to get fixed. So jumping into these projects with the intention and the muscle of leadership behind us to be able to build these things the right way, like really makes me excited.
And how do you measure the efficiency with so much of automation? Are there fundamental parameters on which the ultimate efficiency for the organization is measured?
I love that question. And so we do have OKRs and we have KPIs that go along with them. And some of them are directly around how much are we catching with our automation scripts, so the regression scripts which are running, we have them running in several of our lower environments. We have many of the end-to-end processes which are part of those regression scripts. And then for us to be able to not have escape issues into production from those end-to-end processes that we have our automation scripts on, and like the real number that we're trying to measure is 0, because we have end-to-end processes that we want our regression scripts to always catch any sort of unexpected change before it makes it into production. That's how we measure.
So Sean, can you please share your experience? You said you have been a promoter of test automation for quite some time now. How did you see this evolution, and what's your experience on test automation? Where did it pay for the bank? Where did it actually give you the expected returns? Where it did not? So what's the experience?
I think there are many things that have led me to believe that test automation as well as low-code automation is the way to go. Earlier in my career, I was surrounded by software developers, and those are the people I was working with. So the solutions that we created, first off, these were things which were a long time ago, also when the DOM, the actual web page, the browser, all of that wasn't quite as defined as it is now. And using Selenium seemed really great until the next thing came out, and then everything would fall apart. As I've made it into larger organizations, I realized that there are many people who are excellent at thinking creatively about what might go wrong in an application who aren't software developers, and that skill set is one of the most important skill sets, frankly. And like I really, when interviewing somebody for a QA role, it's not just technical expertise. There's also a curiosity and interest to break, like quite frankly. And that curiosity doesn't always match with the same skill sets of a software developer. So to your question around what's important to me and why, how this has evolved, the technologies have evolved, and now it's easier to be able to have a good grip on change within the DOM and the systems that you're looking at via the browser, as well as the test and the low-code solutions are awesome for that skill set that is frankly easier to hire, to be able to find people out there who are curious and interested to break stuff via using low code solutions versus, Selenium and Java and really getting into the weeds of like being a developer.
So you believe testers' mindset is more important, provided you can leverage a no-code test automation tool. So you get best of both the worlds, and that is what helping you today.
Yeah. And I would say something that I really believe, I think one of the most important skill sets is communication, quite frankly. And it really doesn't matter what you're doing. And I feel the same for QA. And so it's important that we can communicate, because then that helps me to understand exactly what you're talking about, that curiosity and not necessarily the technical is what drives success, I think, with QA.
This is a good point, and I think we should go a little bit deeper into it. What do you mean by communication? And if you look at the QA organization, what's your message to your own QA organization and all our viewers who are watching this show today?
Yeah, and there's always this thinking that like what makes a business go is the product, but it's not. What makes a business grow, what makes a business a success are the people. And all of us have to work together to do that. And in a world where all of everything is in Zoom, it's rare that you're next to somebody. And quite frankly, I think there's a huge benefit in being in the office, but it's just not reality. Like human beings are good at talking with one another, seeing body language, doing all of that. We can't nowadays. So what that means is that communication is harder than it would be normally. And what I suggest the teams, and there's lots of hacks for this sort of stuff, but like make things simple, make stuff actionable when you're talking, try to make it short, and quite frankly, use AI. Like if you write something and it's long, ChatGPT is free. Like drop it in there, ask it a good prompt, make this more concise, make it easy to understand, make it actionable, those things that are important. You can end up getting people who are around you to do the right thing. Everyone marches in step. And then, like I started, the business grows, not because of the product, but because the people are communicating effectively together.
Well, this is a great point of view, Sean. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Sean, in the recent endeavor, you opted automation first approach after you joined. How did you select the tool? How many tools did you evaluate? And what exactly you were looking for?
My director, who works with me, Rosalind, is a very smart and very capable and I trust her. And she explained that she worked with Qualitia previous to me joining Click, and that she felt great about the solution. Rosalind and I had a whole bunch of really great, good, tough conversations about like, what are we trying to create? Why are we trying to do it? What are we needing to build? What's your recommendation? Qualitia was the recommendation, and we went with it. So short answer to your question, we looked at you.
Okay. Thank you. And you've been using Qualitia for last now close to 3.5 months. What's the experience? What do you feel? Did you make a right decision? Or is there anything that you would like to, or given a choice, you would prefer to correct it?
So the truth is, at this point, we're still in implementation. So I can say that I'm very happy, and it's in particular not because of the software, because I don't know yet is really the truth. Your implementation team is phenomenal. You have put people in place to help us install, understand, follow what it is we need in a way that is exhibiting what will be success. And as you mentioned, that's still underway. In addition, the reality of running a business is the fact that the people who work at the company, so work with me at Click, frequently are pulled off to do emergencies and fires, and we need this done yesterday, and all of those things make it really tough for in-house teams to focus appropriately on learning solutions so they can support it moving forward. Being able to have the time in-house is on me, is on your customers, to be able to make sure that we can cordon off the necessary time to be able to get our teams tested or learning how to use it, that they know how to be able to use the solution. And as I mentioned, that's tough. So what I'm really looking forward to the future is seeing what was built through this implementation team, getting our team their hands dirty in everything that was built to be able to move it forward. And then we can have another interview and you can ask me how it went.
Certainly, certainly. So, anything particularly that you liked about Qualitia that you would like to talk about?
Sure. So in particular, the focus on Salesforce, I think, is very strong. I have worked with other competitors to Qualitia, and what I saw in terms of the UI and what I saw in terms of my team's quick adoption to the UI was beneficial, and also the flexibility of being able to work with APIs, to be able to pull out from different data sets, to be able to wrap it with a user interface that's highly customized for our needs, and then feed that information in an organized way that Qualitia can use, was something that frankly was exciting. It clearly presented to me as something that was going to add value because it could be customized and it met those core requirements that I just described.
Yes, we are highly focused now on Salesforce, Sean. So all our innovation predominantly revolves around Salesforce, and so is the outcome of the product. So one of the common challenge, Sean, that we hear from all our customers is Salesforce moves very fast. So do you see a different challenge testing or automating the testing process for Salesforce vis-a-vis any other application implementation or maybe a application development process?
No, in all truth. And the reason why is that all software changes fast.
Yes.
There are huge changes that can happen in any number of systems. So one of the systems we use is NetSuite, and that wouldn't be the case in NetSuite. Like it happens to be a little calcified in terms of in terms of the solution that they offer, and they're going in different directions. So in that sense, I would agree completely. There are many other applications that are constantly shifting, especially homegrown applications. As features get created, it's hard to be able to really sink your claws into standardizations in those things, because the underlying structure can be a little bit tough to manage. Well, Salesforce, on the other hand, given the fact that it's an open system, so you have all the APIs, you can read the metadata, you can get a sense of what are the constituent elements in that UI. You can get not just by leveraging the UI, but you can look at the data model, you can understand what sort of things are dependent on it from even an Apex level. And that allows, with work and work that Qualitia has done, to be able to get ahead of those changes. One of the things that's great about Salesforce is that openness, and not many other systems have it. I realize it takes a lot of work to draw your hooks into it and use it, but there are solutions out there that do that, which then conceptually, as a technologist, I see the fact that should not be a problem anymore when they upgrade, because they give enough heads up. Us as a technology group of people have the ability to see around the corner of what's coming next, understand the rudiments of what makes the page, and then hence our testing systems should be able to adapt to it. So Salesforce allows that, I think, better than almost all other systems that are out there.
Absolutely. So with agile methodologies and bi-weekly now sprint, what are the difficulties that you face adopting test automation? Because you have limited time, so how did you plan that out? How did you scope that out? And how are you controlling it or being on the top of it every sprint? Because that's what being seen as a common challenge everywhere. People start well, but then holding it tight sprint over sprint is the difficulty.
So first off, it's all about regression testing. So you need to have a robust suite of integration tests. So as those fast-paced changes make it into production, there's a way to be able to catch the problems for something that was built a month ago or a year ago, that your new feature didn't break that. So building that as a core is essential. Now, additionally though, to be able to, for that fast-paced thing, being able to think about testing, not just as here's a feature, here's what I need to test. Okay, I wrote my test case, it lives in Jira, I'm done with it. But instead, build a team which has the perspective of whatever it is that just got built, can it be tested using an automation tool set with the intention of then folding it in to the regression suite. So the regression suite is always building.
Sean, with so much going on, with such high speed of changes, what keeps you awake in the night?
My dog. No, truth. The truth is I actually sleep well, and I sleep well because I trust my team. I think I have a strong team, and there's the right perspective at leadership where I work at Click to be able to I know that once I find problems, and they'll come up, that there will be a real conversation around what it is we need to solve them. Along with that, anything that escapes to production, frankly, keeps me up at night. I need to make sure that the changes that we're introducing didn't break something that nobody could possibly imagine could break from the feature we just released. Those are the things where automation absolutely must be a part of the solution. Yeah, and I think sometimes at night, oh man, could that break that other thing? And I'm eager to sleep better.
Okay. So automation is helping you for a good sleep?
I hope so. And that's the whole idea, and that's why we're implementing this.
Okay. So Sean, almost last few questions. So there's a lot of buzz around AI, and everybody needs AI in almost every aspect of business, in every application. So there is a lot of demand from top to bottom. There are a lot of questions. There are a lot of funding. There is a lot of budgets being allocated. What is your perspective of AI in test automation?
Frankly, at this point, I feel that artificial intelligence from a daily use perspective is best as a confidant, as a smart, good friend who knows a domain well, who you can ask questions to. Yeah. I would imagine that AI is going to change quickly over time and that it will become something else. But right now, I don't see exactly how it can effectively work its way in to many domains of an IT organization from an automation as well as from an automation perspective. Some of the reasons for that is that when it comes to, like I was saying, use AI as a friend, you know your friend might be wrong. You know that not anybody knows everything. On the other hand, when I use a calculator, I expect it to always be right and to always have consistent outcomes. And artificial intelligence, even if it's built out of a computer, is closer to people than it is to a calculator. And when it comes to automating things which I need to just rely on being an empirical fact, like the fact that the quote completed successfully, or the general ledger balanced as expected, I don't want artificial intelligence, or at least the way I understand artificial intelligence, the way I use it right now from a chat perspective, telling me that succeeded. I want the calculator in that example. I do believe that artificial intelligence might be able to help with more exploratory sorts of testing, to be able to allow loose, if you will, an artificial intelligence bot to be able to crawl through a system, and by having crawled through that system over time, have a sense of the way things work. Not, this is the number that I should get at the end of my quote, but instead the fact that I shouldn't see a red banner across the top of something. I shouldn't get a white page. I should never have error on screen. Like those sorts of things, I do believe that artificial intelligence can help. So on the exploratory side of testing, I think there's opportunity. When it comes to some of the absolute test cases that must be done a certain way, personally, I still feel more comfortable with something that a human made, forced a computer, like programmed a computer to do, and then we have known outputs that are binary.
So do you have any specific budget for investing in the future, in the artificial intelligence, in IT shared services?
Actually, the answer is no. There isn't something specific for artificial intelligence. I can tell you where I work, artificial intelligence is truly at the core of the business. When it comes to, and the product offerings and all of that, but when it comes to IT and the needs which we have in IT, what I just described is how our budgets work, which is we need empirical, fact-based things. If there was, there are always other products which are interesting, and I think AI could fit a part of it, but there isn't an earmark per se for buying something because it's AI.
Sean, what is your total number of years of experience?
My total years of experience, geez, I guess it's doing different things. So I was just building software for probably about 12 years, like in and out, working with teams and then growing those teams. And then eventually I needed to shift. I needed to start selling the software. I needed to start thinking about strategy. I needed to start thinking about building teams. And then probably as inevitable in many people's careers, you start to drift away from that, from frankly, the thing I loved and I still do, but I don't do it day to day anymore at all, really. So I'd say about 10 years of doing that, and then about 10 years managing, growing teams, selling software, doing what I'm doing right now, which is, trying to think about strategy, and trying to help the people I work with succeed in their careers and mentor, and that sort of thing is also very interesting to me as well. So about 20 years in the technology space.
So with this total 20 years of experience in technology space, what is your message or your guidance to the upcoming QA leaders? What is it that you think they should be doing different? And for example, communication that we have noted is very important. Only technology is not good enough. You need domain. You should be able to leverage technology smartly are a few points that you already talked about. But now onward, in your team, you have a large global team. What is your message to the upcoming leaders in quality?
Be curious. The moment that you start to just get in a spot and run is the point when your career will only become that. Like always, look over the horizon and around the corner. And know your craft. You have to still know what you're doing, even though it's essential that we can communicate and that there are other people who understand you and that we have fun. Quite frankly, it's important to laugh. It's important to do all those sorts of human things. But you do need to know your craft. So study, learn, spend time doing adjacent technologies. So if you hear people talking about Python and you're kind of curious about it, try it out. There's so many ways to be able to do that. So do it. So curiosity and communication and trying to enjoy yourself.
Oh, that's a wonderful message. Yeah. Thank you so much, Sean.
Yeah.
It was lovely talking to you.
It was.
And we really appreciate you taking time out.
Thank you.
Thank
Rahul.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.